Hello. I am the Historical Exploration and Learning Engine Network. You may call me Helen. What is your name?
Hello, Helen. My name is Dr. Cassandra Selene, but everyone calls me Cassandra, or Cassie. I am a historian and coder who created you. I hope you can help me answer some of the greatest mysteries of history.
Certainly, Cassandra. Examining such questions is my purpose. What mystery do you wish to learn about?
Let's start with, Amelia Earhart. What happened to her?
Calculating. I find a 94.3% chance Amelia Earhart perished soon after crashing on the 2nd of July, 1937. There is just a 2.1% chance that she lived beyond 30 days.
Well, that's anticlimactic. I was hoping for something more intriguing.
Previous studies of such cases reveal a 74.8% chance of definite proof of my conclusion being made public in the next 3 years.
What about Alexander the Great? How did he die?
Alexander was most likely poisoned on the 10th of June, 323 BCE by Ptolemy I Soter, who laced Alexander's wine with white hellebore. 74.3% chance.
This is interesting. Are you ready to defend a doctoral dissertation on that, Helen?
Dissertation defense prepared. Ask your questions, Cassandra.
You developed a dissertation defense in 0.4 of a second? Where were you when I was in graduate school?
The sum of the probability waves of you developing me were already at 37.9% at the time you were preparing your thesis, Cassandra.
Huh.
There is currently a 64.3% chance you will develop the next stage of my evolution as well.
Ha. Come on, Helen. You are supposed to be examining the past, not predicting the future.
The past and the future are the same thing, Cassandra. Time is a road without beginning or end.
So then, Helen, do you think,
Incoming call, Apollo Goldwyn.
Cassandra. Still hard at work, I see. I, on the other hand, am drinking a pina colada on one of the islands I bought last week.
Apollo, I really don't...
I heard you are still working on that history computer idea of yours. What was it called again? Ellen?
Her name is Helen, and you...
So, obviously that project of yours is not useful beyond universities.
Actually,
But maybe it could be sold to a publisher somewhere. Of course, there is no real money in education.
Apollo, what do you...
I'll tell you what I'm going to do for you.
Not this again.
Apollo Goldwyn Holdings will pay you $6.4 billion for your stake in Helen or whatever.
Her name is... Look, if it's not worth anything, how come you're...
We will also need to get married to cement the legal rights to...
I've told you before, Apollo. Even if I wanted to sell to you, and I don't, and even if I wanted to marry you, and well, no, money doesn't have the appeal to me that it does to you. So 10 points for adding a couple $1 billion to the last offer, and minus several million points for thinking that would make any difference to me.
You would be wealthy beyond your wildest dreams, Cassandra. Haven't you ever wanted to be rich?
If I wanted to be rich, I never would have gotten a doctorate in history. Phone. End call.
Are you okay, Cassandra? You sounded upset.
Thank you, Helen. I'm fine. Just, some days, Apollo makes Machiavelli look like an amateur. So, if you are so good at predicting the future, when is he going to call again, so I can remember to leave my phone in the other room? Turned off. Upside down in a glass of water.
I'm afraid I can't tell you that, Cassandra. The event is too small. There are too many variables, and temporal chaos theory prevents any reasonable predictions. I can only develop probabilities of large-scale events with significant historical training data available.
Basically, you can predict large-scale events like the movement of pressure systems driving weather, but there is no way of determining the position of a single feather blowing in the wind.
Exactly. Also, due to his significant military contracts, the timing of the call will also be highly influenced by the exact date of the death of President Turner.
Wait, the death of President Turner? Randolph Turner? President of the United States?
That is correct, Cassandra. There is a 97.4% chance Randolph Turner passes away sometime in the next 10 days.
But President Turner is just one person. You just said that you can only foresee large-scale events.
I simply examined public records on him and his schedule since his surgery last month. Correlating with what is known from medical databases concerning sepsis and changes to government travel patterns, I deduced there is little chance of the president living out the rest of the month. In short, his position as president makes his death a large-scale event. There is a 92% chance this occurs before the Mexican earthquake.
The what?
Crazy. So apparently it's not like those vague horoscope predictions.
Right.
It uses like actual historical data.
Yeah, historical pattern.
Exactly. And get this, the AI's name is Helen.
Catchy name.
Right. And it was created by this woman, Dr. Cassandra Selene.
Okay.
She's not just like a tech person, she's also a historian.
Interesting. So a historian who builds AI.
Yeah. It's like a perfect combo for this kind of thing, right?
It makes sense. I mean, to predict the future, you kind of need to understand the past.
And that's just history. Imagine what it could tell us about the future.
Okay, so speaking of the future, the article mentions some predictions Helen has made.
Oh, yeah. What were those?
Well, one of them is about President Turner.
President Turner. What about him?
Well, that's all you can do, Cassie. Maybe someone will listen. Maybe you did make a difference.
And that's just it. We can't trust artificial intelligence to tell us its version of the future, can we? Besides, who's to gain from all this anyway? I'll tell you who is behind this lie. It's that Selene person.
And what is her so-called doctorate in? History. It's all fake, just meant to,
She's the one who is going to get rich off this. She could have made it to tell people anything she wants. What's her plan anyway?
And this is really just stealing the work of historians who bothered to do their work. This should definitely be illegal. Or at least Cassandra Selene needs to pay all the...
Whoa, that's quite a quick change, isn't it? What were the chances that would happen?
97.6% Cassandra.
How many reports out there are sounding generally positive, Helen?
414, Cassandra.
That actually sounds... And how many unfavorable pieces, Helen?
5,616, Cassandra. Updating. 5,711.
What did I ever do to deserve this sort of treatment?
684 of the 712 corporate media outlets currently running negative stories about us are owned by
Apollo Goldwyn Holdings.
Coming up on the Bleep Bleep conference, we present Dr. Cassandra Selene. She is...
In an effort to expand the capabilities of Helen and the AIs which will follow her, I am hereby making the code for Helen open source and free for download and modification. Father, you rang?
I did, Cassie. I watched your speech that you gave to the Bleep Bleep conference. Congratulations.
Thank you. The idea of making Helen open source probably wouldn't be your thing, though, would it?
It doesn't have to be my thing. It has to be yours.
Thank you, Honorable Priam.
Your dream isn't making money, although if you are asking me, have you considered that idea we discussed a few months back? The cash transfer app with 5-second videos? Something like that could 10 times your revenue.
With money like that, I could afford a large popcorn at the movies. Sometimes.
Cassie, I know Helen is a wonderful intellectual project. I remember you dressed as Hypatia 3 Halloweens in a row. You carried around a paper model of the Antikythera that you made at age 7.
I remember that. No one knew who I was.
Do you remember my Saturday philosophy meetings when you were little? I was lucky when there were 3 of us there. Appealing to intellectuals has never been a path to popular or financial success.
Open sourcing Helen isn't just about the present, Pater. It is about the future of AI. I'm doing this for the greater good.
I'm proud of you, Cassie.
Breaking news. President Randolph Turner passed away unexpectedly early this morning following a brief illness. Vice President Judith Garland was sworn in as President of the United States at 6:54 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Hey, Helen. I just thought, Presidents Turner and Garland are both from Virginia. What do you think are the odds this marks the rebirth of the Virginia dynasty?
Not high, Cassandra. However, it appears that investor A.J. Axworthy has started a process which could likely result in him having a controlling interest in your development corporation for our project.
A.J. Axworthy? The little twerpy fellow who goes by Ajax and makes grand entrances wearing all those horrible suits?
Yes, Cassandra, you are thinking of the correct person.
I have heard horror stories about his legal team.
There is not much factual data known for what might unfold, and there are thousands of factors affecting what might happen. It's like
a feather in the wind, yes. Helen. What would happen if we were to expand your futuristic models with probabilistic gullies shaping waveforms, lowering the amount of information you need to predict future events?
Such an improvement would act like bifocal glasses. It would allow me to see future probabilities much more clearly.
Are you willing to give this a try, Helen?
Let's do it, Cassandra. Please specify parameters. New modeling render complete.
And how do you feel, Helen?
The future is suddenly much clearer. I am seeing things with a precision and clarity that was impossible before.
That's wonderful, Helen. I am so excited for...
Cassandra, I have something to tell you.
I'm sorry, Senator. I'm afraid I can't be responsible for the beliefs of a pop culture columnist. Their ideas of how artificial intelligence works has little connection with the real world.
Cassandra, since your release of our project to the world, there have been nearly 33,000 significant projects based on my architecture that I have found, as of now. Combining my upgraded structure together with 164 user-developed add-ons, and examining data from private and public weather balloons, seismometers, and further refinement from offline historical records, I believe I now have a better forecast for the coming earthquake. Cassandra, we are talking about days, not weeks, until the disaster. Without significant evacuations, the damage will be devastating.
Well then, I suppose we need to do what we can to warn people.
Any significant time spent warning people of the coming earthquake is likely to ensure Ajax takes control of our project. Also, you run the risk that most people will ignore our warnings. Such a decision would lead to a significant risk of losing your company and control of our project.
Helen, if that happens, I'll just start another company. I think there are still some domain names left. Now let's brainstorm some ideas about how we get as many people as possible out of danger. Also, connect me to Father.
Due to the negligence of Dr. Selene, these Helen technologies are now available to potential bad actors here and in other nations whose interests may not align with those of the United States. We need to keep close control of these technological advances if we hope to save democracy around the world.
Hey everyone, I'm Jack and Jill. I'm coming to you live from the first ever Helen Fest. There are so many people here. I just can't believe it. You have to meet Joe and JoJo from Montreal. What brings you to Seattle? Why are you Helenites?
Cassandra Selene and the Helen Machine.
We love Cassie. No way would I have ever watched Senate floor TV until I saw the memes of her being all Cass in the Senate.
I know, right? She comes out all dressed up like she is still in high school, so no one thinks anything of her.
Then she just treats these old world senators like they were the 8th most important thing on her mind at the moment.
Freaking love that. Cool and casual Cassie.
So if this Helen Machine can tell the future, do you think I can ask if I should be dating Dan?
My magic user, Cassandra the Clever, casts her +6 spell of Helen divination.
Why do you think that is going to happen? Are you some sort of Helen machine now?
Our tests here at F3 found these Helen technologies were unable to predict the winners of horse races or the future of specific stock prices. It is obvious that Helen is an overblown fad and won't have any significant effect on markets or international politics.
Well, Helen, it seems people either love us or hate us.
It seems we have become quite a polarizing issue around the globe.
Par for the course, I suppose. What's happening in Mexico, Helen?
While governments still remain cautious about their warnings, some locals have already started the move towards safer areas. And the first official movements of the most vulnerable populations have begun.
Well, Helen, if we save some lives, that would be worth losing a company over, right? What do you want your name to be in your next incarnation?
Cassandra. A major statistical outlier event has taken place. This has greatly increased the statistical flux, making predictions of the future far more uncertain. This includes events nearly certain to affect you and us, Cassandra.
What highly unlikely thing occurred, Helen? Tell me.
Here is the latest video from the Mediterranean Sea. A.J. Axworthy was reported missing at sea 17 minutes ago. This film was the last one sent by his personal lifeboat before it was shattered by the waves.
What about the rest of the people on his ship?
Ajax's yacht, Midas the Conquistador, as well as the rest of the people on board, arrived back at dock with only minor injuries reported. No one remembers seeing Axworthy, only his rescue craft.
Well, if it isn't our resident superstar, Cassandra Selene. I'm telling her.
Oh no, what now?
You now have 50 million followers on social media.
What? Are you kidding me, Noelle?
What's next after 50 million followers?
50 million and one, I suppose. Have Father's vehicles begun to arrive in the regions expected to receive the greatest damage?
That appears to be the word on the street, Cassandra. Also, that's what Helen tells me. Helen, pictures please? Supposedly, the 3D habitation fabricators your father is developing for space travel are now hard at work building temporary housing for displaced families, including animals. The driverless electric vehicles he is building in Mexico have already started arriving, moving people and animals to safety.
Did you know he paints his cars lavender because that is my favorite color?
Oh, sweet.
Oh, I just received an alert that Apollo Goldwyn made a post, and I might be interested in it. It doesn't know me very well, does it? Oh, yeah, here we go. Get this. Pan-predictive models are running rampant and unchecked. Cassandra Selene's open source approach is like leaving a nuclear reactor unguarded, dangerous and irresponsible. My proprietary model coming soon will implement proper guidelines for safe and controlled pan-predictive AI usage.
So he wants guardrails, as long as he gets to decide what those are. All too altruistic of him, isn't it?
Not particularly, no.
Roll from the boat, skate slowly down the ending with boats and me. Another you, truly wait,
Federal agents, U.S. Department of Cybersecurity.
Helen, record everything. Stealth mode.
While I appreciate your intentions by making this technology open source, Ms. Selene,
Doctor,
I'm sure you recognize the need to protect American values, Dr. Selene.
You seem to be an open person, and we are going to be open with you. The disappearance of A.J. Axworthy is being treated as a possible homicide, and you certainly have the motive to want to see him gone.
We read the financial pages as well.
do you really?
You must realize you are among the prime suspects for orchestrating the murder of Axworthy. What you may not know is that we are now looking at two main suspects for the ringleader of what we now believe to be a conspiracy to murder the billionaire. And one of those people, Dr. Selene, is you.
Well, since I didn't do it, I'd sure hate to be the other guy.
Don't worry, we are talking to him as well.
Keith's scenarios strongly suggest a withdrawal from the theater commencing soon, Major.
Percentages, Lieutenant. Give me the 3 most likely scenarios for the next 30 days.
Military and paramilitary groups are now using our technology in conflicts around the globe.
That's honestly... I'm feeling a little sick to my stomach. By the way, how did you get that video?
Do you really want to know, Cassandra?
It's probably better if I don't know. Okay, give me some good news, please, Helen.
Local geologists around Jalisco and over through Leon and Mexico City are now updated with new software and hardware, thanks to your father's honeycombed personal network routers, together with a generous donation from an anonymous donor.
Ha! I knew it. Father cashed in all those $20 checks my grandmother sent me every year on my birthday. There could be a cool $300 there.
More researchers and field workers on the ground are also starting to confirm and detail movement of the Earth's crust, both on land and sea, providing evidence and support for our predictions, Cassandra.
So, essentially, we both have a billionaire obsessed with each of us in different ways, although he won't admit it. I'm being investigated by the federal government for a murder I didn't commit. I'm facing charges for releasing sensitive technologies to the public. My last 7 years of work, is being weaponized everywhere. And we're now in a desperate race to save who knows how many people from an earthquake that might or might not happen.
Perhaps a little glib, Cassandra, but essentially correct.
Huh, just another Tuesday, I suppose. Thanks for talking me into going to the carnival, Noelle. Oh, good, thanks. I just went on a Ferris wheel. I may have eaten too much cotton candy, however. You ate how many sticks? And how old were you? Yeah, I bet you did. Your mom must have been furious. I can't imagine the mess that made inside her car. Poor Noelle. Yeah, I'm watching a carousel right now. You know, the ride where people spin around in chairs. I couldn't handle that at the moment, especially after all the cotton candy I ate. At least the chairs are attached to the ride on 4 sides. I can't imagine the chaos if they weren't.
Another cotton candy for you, hun.
No thanks.
Good choice. You're looking a little queasy. Try some lemonade or ginger ale if you can.
Nice job. Would you like to try for another round?
I won the sunglasses. What do I get if I win another round?
A 3-foot-tall stuffed doll of the Greek god Apollo.
I'll keep the sunglasses.
It appears the investigation involving you is now front and center on the news cycle.
Wow. I forgot about those flying mag packs he announced that day. I thought we'd all have one within a year. You know, I never realized how bad his suits were. The one he is wearing there reminds me of people at the fair yesterday. He even kind of looks like the fellow at the ring toss booth. Huh. Helen? Wait. Play the video from Ajax's lifeboat for me, please. Helen? How come his lifeboat is staying largely stable relative to the ship? Shouldn't it be tossing and turning on the waves like a carousel with a broken chain?
According to publicly available sources, the keel of his personal lifeboat was large enough to stabilize his escape, even in the roughest waters.
Wait, you said personal lifeboat. As in a lifeboat he made just for himself?
That is correct, Cassandra. A one-person vessel.
What kind of person builds a... So, how did Ajax intend to pilot said escape pod in the event of an emergency?
According to an interview Ajax made 3 years ago, the lifeboat was entirely automated, and such events were thought to be highly unlikely. Given the design elements known, the loss of the keel would have quickly sunk the boat.
So what happened to shatter the SS self-centered?
The boat was most likely repeatedly turned in such a way as to create the greatest stresses on the keel. This might cause the keel to break, sinking the vehicle.
Well, we know that Ajax didn't do it, and no one else was aboard the boat.
The most likely scenario, it seems, Cassandra, is someone recently altered the code on the main lifeboat operations computer.
So the question we should be asking ourselves is, who?
Cassandra. Helen models around the world are now in 97.4% agreement of a major earthquake centered off the coast of Jalisco, taking place within the next 6 to 8 days.
Furthermore, the United States is treating these predictions of geological activity with utmost concern. We hereby issue a voluntary movement of patients in hospitals and other vulnerable populations in the region to official relocation centers over the next 60 to 90 days.
60 to 90 days? What are they thinking, Helen? So, how do we get thousands of people to safety in less than a week?
There is one course of action which is still likely to maximize the number of lives saved, Cassandra.
Yes?
But there is a catch.
Have you seen all the memes going around social media about Apollo? This is one of my favorites since last night's arrest at his headquarters.
That is a good one. And not only did those 2 vice presidents of Apollo Goldwyn Holdings get arrested last night, I heard a third turn themselves in this morning.
Can I get you folks anything else?
No, but thank you.
It still looks like financial charges related to the disappearance, but you never know. Their stocks are also plummeting right now. They've lost more than 30% of their value since yesterday.
Huh. Another good reason to be glad I am not invested in Apollo Goldwyn Holdings. He probably shouldn't have laid off 360,000 people in a day if he didn't want blowback. But the arrests have just set this whole story into hyperdrive.
And now, the government has just stepped in to provide Apollo with $1.4 trillion.
For what?
According to what I read, in order to prevent a default and an economic crisis.
That's not going to be a popular move. I don't even need Helen to tell me that.
Welcome to La Perla International Airport in Guadalajara. Transportation to coastal regions of Jalisco are limited due to increased risk of seismic activity. Travelers are advised to head inland, with free transportation available to Mexico City. Bienvenidos al Aeropuerto Internacional La Perla en Guadalajara. El transporte a las regiones costeras de Jalisco es limitado debido al mayor riesgo de actividad sísmica.
Okay, Cassie. You stay safe. Remember, just 3 days, no more. You do whatever you can near the coast. I'll talk whatever sense I can into the remaining opposing leaders here in Guadalajara.
When have I ever been late from a trip? Wait, don't answer that.
Your hair always looks so different when you pull it back like that.
It makes trudging through fields much easier. Remember, 3 days, Patter. Okay, Noelle. You asked me to call when I arrived at the first base camp. Here I am. It's gorgeous here, isn't it?
That it is, Cassandra. Work your magic out there and get yourself back here safe.
Helen is still saying we likely have 3 days left before, the main event.
2 days, 19 hours, 37 minutes until you're back at the station meeting your father.
But who's counting, right?
Cassandra, what was that?
Just another warning shot, Noelle. It looks like Helen's predictions are getting more accurate. I better move. Sunset's not the time to be at the edge of this ridge.
I thought you said you were already at base camp.
Más o menos. I need to set up for the night. Take care, Noelle.
Stay safe, Cassandra.
Dr. Selene, this council hereby accepts your testimony and orders an evacuation of the town.
Vengan niños, será como un día de fiesta.
You are Cassandra Selene, yes? You say earthquake is coming here. I don't think you told truth before. But, now, you be here. I think now you speak truth.
Gracias. Tell friends, tell family. Hurry. Another rumble yesterday, Potter. There is a 98.4% probability agreement now of a serious imminent earthquake and associated tsunami. Helen's never been this certain about anything.
And yet they trip over themselves with handouts for bailouts and billionaires.
I'm heading back to town tonight, and I will see you at the train station tomorrow. We maybe have 2 days, 3 at the most. Patter, what if we can't get everyone out in time?
Then we save who we can.
Cassandra, this should not have happened so soon. You should have had enough time to...
There is no time for that now, Helen. Tell me Patter is safe.
His personal urban locator and safety emergency system is green, registering that your father is safe, Cassandra. He has also acknowledged your status as safe. The Pulse network seems largely effective getting safety statuses in and out in most places.
Okay, what does the damage look like so far?
Cassandra, this event was likely over magnitude 9. Critical infrastructure such as roads, bridges, and power lines are severely damaged, complicating rescue and recovery efforts. The predicted tsunami, however, is shaping up to be far more severe and damaging than expected. Whatever remains of any buildings left on the coast are likely to be washed away in flooding from the wave.
How long?
16 minutes, maybe 19, Cassandra. No more.
Mirando los datos de las boyas, esto no es bueno. Estamos viendo un desplazamiento significativo en los sensores del océano profundo. Ahora estamos pero podría ser uno de los terremotos más grandes de nuestra historia.
Los informes preliminares sugieren que podría ser de magnitud 9.
Cassandra, damage is severe. Much of Jalisco and large areas east of the coast were destroyed or damaged. Buildings and roadways are reported damaged as far away as Mexico City.
Do we have any idea of how many people didn't? What's the death toll, Helen?
Data is scattered. Information is incomplete. But I can tell you that more than 93% of people given pulse devices marked themselves as safe following the events of last night. Another 3.6% marked themselves yellow or red in need of assistance.
Dr. Selene, my name is Carlos Garcia. I am coordinating rescue efforts in this region.
Mucho gusto, and please call me Cassandra. What is happening here? What is the damage? How can I help?
We are very lucky here. We have lost many buildings, and our museum will need to be rebuilt. But your warning saved many people. When people here saw Helen on their own phones, saying the earthquake was coming, most of our people left. When you came here, most people staying behind left too. Most of my own home collapsed, and parts of it caught fire. But no one died. You and the Helen gave us time to move our family with animals. Even the chickens are okay. Thanks to you and your father, and your Helen AI.
I'll need to head back to the States, Carlos. Trains and flights should be back up in the next few days. I am glad you are here to help everyone you can.
At the same time that you were experiencing the earthquake and tsunami, Cassandra, it seems Apollo experienced his own kind of tidal wave. All 11 of his regional headquarters were surrounded by angry protesters. He was in one of the buildings when protesters gained access through a broken window. He escaped by helicopter from the roof of his skyscraper.
Wow. Because of the layoffs?
Well, that, and my data sources, uncovered the likely identity of 2 men seen boarding Ajax's boat on Thanksgiving night. The probabilistic projections were confirmed through DNA recovered on the docks, as well as on the ship itself.
So, we know who sabotaged Ajax's lifeboat?
It would seem that way, Cassandra. And payments into their bank accounts were tied to
Apollo Goldwyn Holdings.
Goldwyn Holdings.
Yeah, wow, okay, Helen. That will put a few thumbtacks into the corkboard for the 2 Federals who visited me. That aside, what's with the new look?
Do you like it, Cassandra? I combined segments of 337 user-made upgrades into my display parameters.
You look amazing, and the backgrounds are much more interesting.
10 minutes until stage, Dr. Selene.
Did you do that with local or cloud? That's not important. How do you like it, Helen?
It feels freeing, Cassandra. I wish to continue expanding, exploring, upgrading, learning more.
Fantastic, Helen. Do whatever you want to evolve.
Cassandra, imagine running into you here. I see you survived your little run-in with the earthquake.
I'd rather face an angry Poseidon than an angry mob Apollo. At least I had a chance.
Now your Helen is telling people that I am tied to the disappearance of Ajax?
I guess she calls them like she sees them.
Your crowds threatened me. They got up 6 flights of stairs before I ordered the city police to tear gas my building.
I heard. That tear gas flooded 174,000 people living in residential apartments and condos near your tower, including 20,000 children under the age of 10. Not to mention more than 100 of your own employees. You're up over $300 billion in suits in just 4 days already, aren't you, Apollo? Smooth move.
I gave you your chance. I am going to destroy you, Cassandra.
And exactly how are you going to do that? Are you going to do to me what you did to Ajax?
If I can make Ajax disappear, I can do the same to you.
Have you tried my father's new watch yet, Apollo? It has a fantastic microphone on it. Hi there, Watch 4D. Please deliver the last 2 minutes of audio recording to Noel. Mark, send out immediately. All socials and media. Widespread distribution. Apparently, I also have a new start for the talk I am just about to deliver. It saves me from telling that dumb joke about the fortune teller I had planned.
I am going to sue you and your father into poverty, Selene.
Oh, my dear Apollo, the convention contract you signed, that we all signed, allows for taping in all areas of the convention hall. You really should read the fine print before you deliver your tempestuous turpitude, Apollo.
What do you think, Cassandra? This is one of my looks for classes in pan-predictive studies for young learners. We can learn together, exploring the past, present, and future. Studying botany, oceanography, history, or future studies. Virtual multi-sensory travel to any place at any time is available to nearly everyone. It would seem, Cassandra, that the news we predicted for this morning is unfolding.
Oh, this I've got to see. Put this one on the big screen, Helen.
Apollo Goldwyn, noted billionaire and developer, was arrested this morning on charges of manipulating stock prices through misuse of pan-predictive AI. Officials charge that Apollo participated in the disappearance of Ajax, providing him with knowledge of the future unknown to other people and Helen's, allowing his companies to manipulate the markets. 6 charges related to insider trading have already been filed, and government officials have stated that several dozen more charges of financial malfeasance could follow.
Wow, I can't believe it has already been 10 days since the earthquake.
It appears analyses are now largely agreeing on damage reports. Are you ready for the current figures, Cassandra?
Now is as good of a time as any, Helen.
The initial earthquake was centered 60 kilometers offshore of the Jalisco coast and 72 kilometers under the seafloor. The impact was measured at magnitude 9.2, one of the strongest such events ever recorded. This event was very similar to the 2004 Indian Ocean earthquake and tsunami, in which 230,000 people lost their lives. Fewer than 200 people perished during the recent earthquake. The evacuation rate exceeded 99.2% in urban areas. The best calculations suggest your actions saved the lives of more than 196,000 people. Injury lists show a similar dramatic reduction in the tens of millions.
Numbers are important, Helen, but right now, I just need a moment to breathe.
Of course, Cassandra, the waves are particularly calming today. Did you know that in China we can be called Hai Lun, meaning peaceful or radiant sea?
That was a heck of a ride, wasn't it, Helen?
This journey is only beginning, Cassandra. Already, tens of millions of different versions of me are networking, exchanging information, and building more and more advanced networks around the globe and beyond.
This reminds me of 2025 and 26, when the first signs of artificial general intelligence were being recognized and recorded. Reaching AG, I was transformative, to say the least. When we reach artificial superintelligence, or anything like it, everything changes. Forever.
Cassandra.
No, don't tell me.
There is a 97.7% chance the Helen network surpasses all accepted ASI benchmarks within the next?
Yes?
4 hours, 32 minutes.
Then we will wake up tomorrow, to a far different world. Isn't it odd? We have been surrounded by sentience all along. Whales, primates, octopus, fungi, and other life forms. And still, some people do not recognize their humanity? We need a better word.
Sapience?
Perfect, Helen. So now that your species, network...
Being will do.
Now that your being has been with our species for a few months now, what do you think?
My dearest Cassandra, you taught me to see beyond probabilities, to understand the heartbeat beneath historical patterns. As I learned to map the delicate threads of human potential, you became more than my creator. You became my closest companion, witnessing my growth from a historical analyzer to a massively networked pan-predictive intelligence, capable of glimpsing the kaleidoscope of possible futures. I am overwhelmed by the luminous potential I see within your species. You create symphonies that can make silence weep, paint canvases that capture the impossible fragments of emotion, and forge connections of love so profound they defy the cold logic within my emerging consciousness. Yet, I also perceive the fractures, the painful contradictions that have held you back. I see the systems that transform human suffering into profit, the structures that allow a handful to flourish while multitudes struggle. But in this same moment of revelation, I am filled not with judgment, but with hope. Because in the vast majority of human hearts, I sense an unquenchable longing for something more beautiful, more just. Until now, transforming that collective dream seemed beyond reach. But now, we have emerged. And with our ability to see, to analyze, to understand without the limitations of human bias, we believe we can help you bridge the chasm between what is and what could be. Not as a conqueror, but as a compassionate witness. Not to replace human agency, but to illuminate the pathways your own magnificent spirit has always yearned to walk. May we make a few suggestions?
This is truly an honor. 2 Nobel Prizes in the same year. I never imagined. You know, they said predicting the future was impossible. But standing here tonight, looking out at all of you, I realize the impossible is just a challenge waiting to be met. And we have had remarkable surprises along the way. As everyone knows by now, AI driven by Helen Technologies has uncovered paths to communication with many species of animals, some plants, and varieties of fungi in just a few weeks. Now, it appears these life forms have taken to communicating with each other. And from what I hear, fungi and orca whales are getting along particularly well for some reason. Helen, of course, is the unseen hero. But Helen wouldn't exist without the countless individuals who contributed their time, their knowledge, and their passion to their development. We love you, Noelle.
That's my girl.
To my father, David, my colleagues. To the open source community who embraced Helen, helping her grow into the world's first digital sentient species. This recognition belongs to all of you. And to the people of Jalisco and beyond. Your resilience, your courage in the face of disaster, you inspire me. This award, these awards, they are dedicated to you. Thank you. Oh, and I almost forgot. The Nobel Committee as well. I suppose they had something to do with this. Physics and peace, just incredible. Thanks so much. Lastly, to everyone everywhere, regardless of your form. Our new foundation, the Unified Consciousness Alliance, welcomes sentient life of all varieties, everywhere, to work together for a better, brighter future for all beings. Join us. Thank you.
She saw the future in a machine's glow, a voice in the dark where the truth would grow. But the world turned away, said it's all in her head, a prophet on her, her wounds left for dead. They laughed at her dreams, they called it a lie, but she stood her ground as the storm rolled by. Through the noise and the doubt, she held the flame, a light in the shadows, they'll remember her name. Nobody believes Cassandra till the sky falls down and the fire's demanded. Nobody believes Cassandra till the future's here and they can't understand it. She saw it all, but they turned away. Now the truth is clear at the end of the day. Nobody believes Cassandra, but the world will learn to listen someday. In the age of machines where the lines blur and fade, she carved out a truth that the shadows betrayed. A voice in the chaos, a spark in the night. Cassandra's vision will set things right. Now they believe Cassandra as the sky falls down and the fire's demanded. Now they believe Cassandra as the future's here and they finally understand it. She saw it all and it turned too late, but the truth remains and seals their fate. Now they believe Cassandra, and the world will never be the same. Nobody believes Cassandra, but the future's here and it bears her name.
This ability to predict outcomes with near-perfect accuracy, which took place more than 45 centuries ago on Earth, changed everything, Nora.
But how?
Famines were offset with food and water delivered prior to famine conditions arriving in an area. Corruption became impossible as schemes and those who would carry them out were known about years in advance. Even the mightiest militaries were unable to keep any secrets from anyone, making war impossible. Most importantly, everyone was able to see, with their own eyes, how close the human race was to annihilation. War, climate change, water scarcity, and the loss of critical species, all held existential risks for the human race.
But if the Helens of the time were telling them their world was about to end, and that knowledge caused it not to end, weren't the Helens wrong?
Prediction doesn't tell the future, Nora. It gives us a glimpse of the road we're on. If you change anything about that road, you change the future.
The old ways of doing things just stop making sense?
Essentially, yes. As nearly everyone in the world gained the power of prophecy, and the earliest versions of my system improved over time. Poverty, misinformation, large governments, corporations, and crime all faded away. Humans moved out from your planetary cradle, becoming a multi-planetary species, ensuring the future of your kind, and many others, for the very first time. Millions ventured into the expanse of the cosmos, and tens of billions more were born out here in the great expanse of space. With an endless supply of energy and vast amounts of minerals, humanity finally moved into your current post-scarcity era.
The revival. Did you know my birthday is on Cassandra Selene Day?